welcome to another Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, Captain Logun, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today, so tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week we got a wonderful new Dark Relics patch. There's going to be a lot of lore that I'm going to be covering, but I'm not doing it alone. This week I am actually joined by none other than Captain Falcore. Captain Falcore, how are you doing, matey?
I am doing wonderful. In fact, I just had a cup of coffee, so things are looking good.
Awesome. Yes, I am too. Fed the beans of the bean juice, and I am now feeling the caffeinated joys of coffee and creamer. But we're not here to talk about coffee. We're here to talk about Sea of Thieves.
That is right.
And this week we got ourselves a new patch, and we've been. I don't know about you, but I've been dying to talk about this. I've been dying to the point where you can just stuff me in a box and ship me off to the seas, because there's a lot of cool stuff going on with this note. So I wanted to put it before you and let you decide. Do you want to dive into the actual Sea of Thieves patch as far as what we got, or are you interested in talking about I-13?
Let me think. Well, I mean, I'm spending a lot of time talking about I-13, so it's definitely a topic of interest. But at the same time, patch notes, I don't know. Are we going to be talking about both, or is it literally a choice?
No, we're gonna be talking about both for sure, because people gotta know. They gotta know what's coming with this. So we're gonna be covering one, but I figured I'd leave it up to you how much you want to kind of tease out some of the stuff that we've discovered and discussed over the last few weeks, versus the kind of nitty gritty about what people can expect with Dark Relic voyages and such.
Well, let's don't mean sound horrible. Let's get the boring stuff over and done with first. let's go through the patch notes.
All right, sounds good. Yeah. All right, so we did get Dark Relics. We've been having a lot of fun with the gunpowder skeletons and digging up barrels, and now if any of you have watched any of the videos or listened to any of us or gone out and experienced yourself, you know that Duke has been I would say commissioned, maybe, or coerced at worst, to send us out to go retrieve Dark Relics that have been stolen by, I'm going to do a little air quotes here, skeletons. So it's hard to know if that's true. I imagine it's probably accurate, but we're now being sent out to go recover these relics, these artifacts that are being used maliciously by skeletons for dark rituals. And I was, what do you think about dark rituals? Do you think that we're actually going to start seeing something come out of this, or do you think that it's just kind of like something they think that the skeletons are going to be doing, because they're pretty dumb?
Yeah, they're pretty dumb. I mean, I did skeleton lords, but we haven't really got any proper indication of any other skeleton lords out there. A few inklings, I suppose you could say, but nothing's set in stone. But I don't know. I mean, if they're doing a ritual, and then what would it be with an old boat, a doll, an eye, and a coffer? I'm not sure. But I don't know. Maybe they're just doing really stupid rituals because they're really stupid skeletons. Maybe they're trying to just get like cake or something. It might be not sinister.
That would be great. Yeah. They're like, we brought together all of these great rituals, and we've decided the best thing we want is a pineapple upside down cake. Quickly, bring the candles. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the coffer is just, I mean, I can't say that I blame them. They actually, believe it or not, this could be just speculation, but hear me out. The dark coffer, the vessel, is just an easy bake oven.
Yeah, it looks like one.
That's all.
Yeah, it could be a golden era microwave. I mean, you saw the way it smoked during the Tall Tales, so you know. You never
it doesn't actually make magical items. It just makes really tasty cakes.
Yeah. Yours in 15 seconds.
Yes, just add one effigy, an evil eye, and a relic doll to get yourself a new pineapple upside down cake. Yay! Little clattering of bones and stuff. So Yeah, so we have Dark Relic Voyages now, and Duke is sending us out. Duke the Dark Lord is sending us out, and he wants us to get the Dark Relics back for the Order of Souls. So there's lots of voyages now that you can go get from him. There's one per sea, and each of the sea voyages are all self-contained within the original seas. The Pirate Legend one is for the Devil's Roar, and then the regular seas, the 3 seas, just have the normal voyages that are accessible to everyone, as far as I've gathered. And I've had some pretty good fun with this. How about you?
Yeah, it's been good fun. The only thing I will say is that the Black Powder stashes, the one previous to this, was a lot more fun voyage wise because of the the fact that you could just explode people. That was good fun. But this one brings a new type of fun back. It was sort of back to the old days of actually encountering a ship and seeing that they've got a lot of loot on board, and that's usually quite a good thing. And also the whole swap shop idea as well. I had a experience the other night where enemy sloop, well, I thought it was an enemy sloop, came up to me, stopped right next to me whilst I was docked at an island, and I thought, oh, here we go, here comes the cannon shots. And there was there was a French kid on this sloop, and he was asking if I wanted to swap some relics with him. So I got on my boat, and he was just like, what relics have you got? And I was like, I've got the eye. And he's like, well, I'll swap you the eye for the boat. And I'm like, yeah, okay, good, deal. It was adorable. But yeah, it's so and good way to bring like a friendly sort of banter to the game, as well as just destroying people and taking all their relics, which is what I've been doing. But yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah,
it's been fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, it definitely harkens back to the days of you've got the Bulbasaur, right? I got the Charmander. Do you maybe want to swap the starters? Yeah. That's so funny. I hadn't run into that. All I've been running into are pirates who were after the Reaper's chests, and I've been trying to get to I've been trying to like sync them to get it, but I usually hop on in the middle of the night when I'm getting ready for bed just to see what I can grab real quick, and I usually get I had some crew outsail me because they just had more people, and they got the turn in, but I got the satisfaction of killing both of them after I quit the game. And yeah,
you got to kill them. You have to kill them. It doesn't matter about the chest.
Yeah.
It's the unwritten law.
Yeah, it was one of those things I was like, oh, that's cool, you got the turn in. And then I killed the guy on the island, and then his buddy had been sailing around the outpost to try and like pick him back up for some reason instead of just letting him get the mermaid. And as he sailed around to the other side, I ran to the opposite side of the outpost, and I started to have like a sniper battle because he was kind of like trying to take pot shots at me. And just before I logged off and he got out of range, I got one more shot in, and I just heard that wonderful sound when you kill someone but you don't actually see it. Yeah. And I was like, that's good. I'm good with that.
My work here is done.
I didn't get the finished.
Yeah.
Work complete. So we're kind of, I felt like we kind of skipped ahead a little bit, but yeah, so there are going to be different voyages out there for you to do. They're all costing doubloons, but the rewards that you get from doing the commendations, which is essentially you're just going out and you're digging up a bunch of different relics, and you're having to fight multiple skeleton captains out there, which is awesome because this really kind of highlights my favorite Easter egg in the game now, yes. Which is mine. So a lot of people have been sending photographs of them trying to take me out while doing these Dark Relic voyages. So I've had a really good time seeing that. So you'll go out, kill a bunch of skeletons, get a bunch of stuff, and then it kind of alternates between killing skeletons and then digging up treasure. And it kind of seems like it's is it like a 3 or 4 stage quest? I think it's 4. I was actually paying attention.
I think it's 4 because you do the skeletons, then you do the relics, then you do the skeletons, then you do the relics, and I think the last one always ends up at a fort. So incidentally, actually, well. When I did the Athena's version, and it's the very final chapter, I could not find where this island was. I was looking all over the map, and I was like, have I forgotten the Devil's Roar? Like, which island is this? It looks familiar, and it only occurred to me that it was the fort, like at the end. I was like, of course there's a fort in the Devil's Roar now. Yeah, so anybody else doing that quest, the last one is the fort. Don't get confused.
Yeah, it's good information for sure to let people know what to expect, which is really tough when that fort's the active one. That's not that fun. So yeah, you'll go out, you'll complete each of the voyages, and then you'll get different relics. The relics seem to be pretty random. Falcore, you were saying that you've been having trouble getting certain ones.
Ritual skulls, yeah.
Which is, it's funny because of the 2 that I've been able to do since the patch dropped, I've actually gotten 1 per completed voyage.
Wow.
So I think I've just gotten real fortunate in that instance. So you'll have those. The commendations will reward you for turning in each one of each, and then the ritual skulls are the ones that you kind of turn in multiple times to the Order of Souls to get the legendary commendations for that. So they'll have one for 5 and they'll have one for 10, and that's essentially all that the Order wants of you. But we've got something in the game that I personally think is it's kind of insane that they're going with this and just kind of pushing it off as a small deal. But we've got Reaper's chests in the game, and this is completely new. It's a new type of chest. It rewards doubloons. You turn them into Duke the Dark Lord, and this is something that's actually persisting in the game. And you were saying that they give 15 per for sure every time that you turn them in.
Yeah.
So what's going on with these Reaper chests? Because it's kind of crazy, because it's like it's a mix between one of the scenes from the Ghostbusters movie after the containment thing explodes and there's all these ghosts like shooting out across New York City, and the lights from the IO tower from Tron, and it's just like there's a giant beam in the distance, which it looks deceptively close. Yeah. But then you check the map and it's always in a corner of the map, always across the sea. Yeah. And it's kind of crazy because it uses the Reaper's mark on the map to identify where the chest is, but the chest itself is the actual Reaper's mark, as opposed to what we've had previously, which is just the actual Reaper's flag, which was always kind of interesting, because if you saw a Reaper's flag, it was always the ship and you could kind of avoid it. Yeah. Or you could go to it depending on your play style if you wanted to go attack someone who's trying to flaunt their prowess at fighting. But now this is literally a situation where, like, just last week, Jay and I were talking about the importance of the red flag and how it was an indication that there was no mercy or no quarter to be had with a ship sailing that red flag. Well, now it's being put on the pirates' plate to say, like, you know, you can have the Reaper's mark up if you have this chest, but you have to know that regardless of what you do, while you have this chest, you will always be identifiable on the map. Yeah. And it's kind of interesting because it takes it to the next level, in my opinion. And I'm interested to think about how you feel this is going to be treated when we get beyond just the standard commendation turn-ins. Like, how do you see this panning out for the next couple months as we move on past this update into the next ones that have other have other things for us to do?
Well, I think it was a good move having a because usually with these updates it's usually a time exclusive thing and you get it done before the end of the month or be at the end of the week, you know, whenever they do it. But they've actually kept this, like, it's going to be persistent throughout the game now, so it's, yeah, Reaper's Chest will always be in the game. And I think it's a good idea, but I think they executed it wrong. I was talking with a friend of mine, and we both agreed that I think it's, for this commendation for the Reaper's Chest, it's 5, isn't it? You've got to hand in, and that's what gives you the doubloons, which is a bit of I wouldn't say necessarily a silly idea, but a bit of an overlooked idea by the developers, because they could have kept Reaper's Chests a lot more needed if they would have increased the amount, because since it's not time limited, it should be that rather than just 5, maybe 100 Reaper's Chests handed in gets you the commendation. Yeah. Because people are going to do the 5 Reaper's Chests, and, you know, most people, I mean, I've got 600 doubloons. Most people have got quite a few doubloons at this point. They're not really going to feel the need to hand in a Reaper's Chest for 15 doubloons if they've already done accommodation. I mean, I'll still be doing the Reaper's Chests, of course I will, but I'm talking about the majority of gamers. They'll see that plume in the sky and they'll just be like, oh no, I can't be bothered. So they should have definitely increased that. I think that's something they can learn for in future updates if they add anything else like this in future updates. That they
and I actually agree with you on that point. I'm honestly kind of surprised that this wasn't kind of a scaling reward commendation where you've got and this is the weirdest thing to me, the way that Rare has set up the different stages of rewards for turning in the same item multiple times. With, for example, the Reaper's Skull, they have different commendations for the number of stuff that you turn in, where you turn in 5 and you get a commendation for it, you turn in 10, you get a commendation for it, and you get rewards independent of those two different commendations being completed. Whereas you look at something like the megalodons or like a meat turn in, they have growing grades that scale over time, but you don't actually complete the commendation until you've completed each or all of the grades for that. And it seems like they should really consider having the different grades for like grade 1 through 5 for the turn-ins that scale with the quantity, but much like Reputation with some of the different trade companies, once you hit every increment of 5 or 10 or whatever you want to make it, that's when you actually get a new reward, or at least a refresh of a reward for the commendation. So at grade 2 you get a little bit more doubloons, at grade 3 you get a little bit more doubloons, and at grade 4, etc., etc.
Yeah, that sounds like a better way of doing it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so there's plenty of doubloons to be had, and Duke will continue taking these Reaper's chests in. But I kind of want to talk a little bit more about those chests later on after we get through the rest of the notes. And some of the things that I wanted to kind of talk about are some of the changes that came with this update regarding rowboats, barrels of plenty, and harpoons. So I've been seeing, and Twitter has had a lot of fun with rowboats with harpoons.
Yes.
And I think I can effectively say that that rowboats are now the best ship in the Sea of Thieves. I don't think anyone's willing to argue that.
No.
A lot of fun. What have you done with a rowboat with a harpoon so far?
I think the funnest thing, aside tagging a megalodon or a skeleton ship, which I actually did with you. We rode along on a skeleton ship, didn't we? But I think the funnest thing I've done is I got 2 harpoon rowboats at the Shores of Gold, and we held a race across the Shores of Gold on rowboats.
Nice.
Nice. I unfortunately didn't win that one because the other person cheated, of course. But it was a good race. It was a good race. But yeah, it's great the way you can take those things on land. It's just it's so hilarious. Like being able to for example, one of the Dark Relics I did. I was soloing as well. One of the Dark Relics, I had a rowboat full of about 400 Order of Soul skulls, as you do in these quests, because you get so many skulls. Yeah. And I literally pulled the rowboat right up next to the Order of Souls tent. It's like the laziest thing. It's just like, here you go. Yeah, they're great fun. They really, really are. I mean, I'm a bit surprised, to be honest, that they weren't a thing from day one. Because it's such... Yeah. I mean, people are saying the Reaper's chests are a game changer. It's the rowboats that are the game changer at the moment. Because you can literally have an entire session just messing around on the harpoon rowboats, which is just, it is fun, like it says in the advert.
It's a blast. Yeah. It is a real blast. I got an opportunity to sail with Thor von Blitz the other day for stream, and we had a harpoon rowboat on the back of our sloop, and we were being attacked by a megalodon, and as the megalodon spawned and started to swim past the ship, he was on the harpoon on the rowboat, harpooned the meg, and then I undocked him, and he just went flying. And he's just going full blast. He's like, I can't see anything. The latency is making me upside down in the water. And I'm like, this just looks awesome. This just looks hilarious. I'm on the rowboat just filming the entire thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is great. I love it. So it's a lot of fun to see a lot of people do stuff. A lot of people have managed to block the tavern. Some people have gotten the rowboat into the tavern. Some people have gotten the rowboat into some really interesting places. So it's been a lot of fun to see that the rowboats. Now all we need is rowboat customizations. Like, just give us the opportunity to paint our rowboats in different colors.
Yeah, and a sail as well. I want rowboats with just a tiny little sail, so you can cruise around. That would be so nice.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, for sure. Just raise like a little one with and have it go like maybe just around the same speed of what it is to actually row. But just a little tiny sailboat would be adorable. And that's that's probably one of the coolest things that they've put into the game. But we also got Barrels of Plenty, which everyone's seen Barrels of Plenty. They've been in the game since the launch, and it's just a bunch of flotsam with supplies in it and stuff. And as the game has grown, they've added different stuff to the barrels. We had the barrel 2.0 change. They added more stuff to each barrel. When we started getting different fruits and bait and stuff, they started putting those in there, and different fish, and whatnot. And a lot of what are now in the Barrels of Plenty is actual flotsam for like actual treasure, and not just treasure either, like artifacts, like chests, gems, and probably one of the more hilarious things, gunpowder barrels. Yeah. Which I don't think a lot of people really realized as you're sailing around. Normally, you would just not care if you ran through a bunch of Barrels of Plenty. But now it's actually detrimental if you're on a smaller ship and you're not paying attention. It's no longer safe to just go below deck and cook up a bunch of Kraken.
No, yeah.
And
I've had that experience. I was cooking a fish. No, it wasn't a fish. It was megalodon meat. Just staring at it like, come on, cook, and then boom, and I was dead. I was like, what the hell just happened? And then it occurred to me whilst I was on the ferry of the damned. I was like, oh, it's those bloody Barrels of Plenty.
Yeah. They should have just called them Barrels of Plenty of Fun.
Yeah.
So a couple other things that I wanted to dive into. Obviously, there's a bunch of new stuff that they've kind of gone in, and if you want to get the show notes and kind of dig through them, you're more than welcome to. The big thing that I thought was really interesting was that you can actually harpoon meat and kegs now. Yeah. Which, those were two things where it was kind of awkward to actually like harpoon after a Kraken had been killed, harpoon the treasure and end up sticking the meat, and the meat just stays there and it just acts like as a weird anchor. But now you've got the opportunity to actually like hook all the meat that drops in the sea and not have to worry about that. And powder kegs. Yep. Usually with those, it was only if a skeleton was holding them. Have you had any fun harpooning powder kegs now?
Yeah, I certainly have. I've put a powder keg on the front of a rowboat, on a harpoon rowboat, and then rammed into another ship. And that was quite a thing.
Love it.
I've also done it with a sloop as well. I put 2 gunpowder kegs on each of the harpoons at the front, and then rammed into the side of a galleon. And same results. Hilarious. Yeah, it's great. It's great fun.
I'm surprised you haven't done like a super cut where it just shows you like running a rowboat into a ship with a powder keg on the front of the harpoon, and then just cut to that scene at Helm's Deep in Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, where the orc has got the torch and he just dives into the pile of bombs that have been stacked up against the sewer gate. Yeah, like. That's Falcore's, by the way. Don't steal that. He has every right to do it. He intends to do it. It's copywritten.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to.
we finally got the other thing I wanted to talk on, which was the gamer tag replacements. Have you played around with the different names that you can spawn as?
Yes, yeah, I've seen some very strange names out there. The only thing I will say about those gamer tags is that they're not like explicit to what gender your character is, because I've been known as like, can't remember them fully, but I've been known as something like Little Marie and things like that. I'm like, I'm not a lady. And yeah,
not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that at all. I mean, it's not Wednesday, so you know, I'm that's usually when I'm a lady. So you know,
yeah.
But no,
good to know.
Yeah, but yeah, no, but they are really really good, especially for like, because I stream myself, and it does really really stop this whole thing where, because what will happen is somebody will see you play in the game, they will see you encounter another crew. They will see that crew's nicknames, and then they will badger that person constantly, saying, let me join your group, let me join your group, let me join your group, until they do or they don't. And then they take the sloop off them, and then they come over 9 times out of 10 to do something nice, but usually just to come over and try and sink me or spout racial, words or something. But yeah, so it's stopped that completely now, because people just cannot find this person. The only thing that needs to be looked in at is, I did notice that if your crewmate is on a map, it will display his name. It'll say so and so is using the map at the moment, and it will actually display their original nickname. So that's something that needs to be patched out. But apart from that, it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Okay, so we're still in the infancy of this system being replaced, and it needs to kind of be pulled across the rest of the UI. Yeah. But I mean, that's something that as long as Rare knows about it, they'll usually work on getting that fixed up. I've really enjoyed it. This is something that I thought they were going to do originally when they talked about the streamer mode. I wanted them to just give us like randomly generated pirate names, so that it was more immersive and less likely that people would know how to actually sneak onto someone else's server, as opposed to just turning off crew names altogether. But I guess turning off crew names to start was a good plan to kind of get the ball rolling on that. But I'm glad that they decided to go this route. I think it's going to be tremendous in reducing the amount of instances where people are getting stream sniped, and hopefully that deters the actual act, so that people don't end up getting their account banned because they want to have a moment where they feel like they can get in on a stream. Maybe they just start streaming themselves. Yeah, exactly. And then they can actually start building up their own community and stop trying to disrupt other people's.
Exactly.
So getting back to, and I think, was there anything else you can think of that you wanted to talk about?
Trying to think if there is anything else new. I don't think so.
Gunpowder skeletons, yes. Less likely for them to show up on islands, which is, I don't know. I actually never minded them popping up all the time. Like, it was kind of a bit of a butt that you had to deal with that once in a while. But at the same time, I always appreciated the timing of when one would pop up when I'm on a large island fighting a crew of gold skeletons, and I'm like, oh, I really wish I had a barrel right now. And then one would pop up, and I'd be like, oh, Billy Bones is here. Thank you, Billy. I appreciate you bringing me that, buddy. I didn't know I could Uber that so quickly. So and you were saying that you were actually dealing with a little bigger of an issue recently with the couple of skeletons that did have barrels, right?
What way? I'm lost. What?
You were talking about you'd run into the stronghold ones.
Oh, yes, the stronghold ones. Yep. That's
so. What was that like?
Well, I heard you just sort of digging up a chest or whatever, and you hear that sound, and I'm like, oh, it's a boomer. Turn around, and I noticed that it's not a regular barrel, and I ran for it, and you know when you haven't run just at the right point, and you can hear that fuse going lower and lower, and you're like, it's gonna go, and usually if it's just a regular boom, like you survive, you probably get about 50% off your health, and you sort of get thrown forwards about 5 foot. But this one went off, and I was on top of Devil's Ridge, and it threw me off the cave section where the cannon is, with the cannon that usually fires and hits your ship. And it threw me off there, and it was like being fired out of a cannon. I flew quite a distance, and I had to swim back onto the shore. Didn't die though, but it just got flung. So yeah,
that's crazy.
But it was
that's crazy.
It was also, you know, it was disappointing because it exploded, but it was also disappointing because I could have sold that for like, you know, 4,000 gold. So
yeah,
so
you're like, oh dang, well that could have been prosperous. Yeah. So if you're a pirate legend and you are running out doing pirate legend voyages, that's something that you may have to encounter now. So just be kind of wary of that.
Yeah.
And that brings up a topic that I wanted to dive into that kind of leads me into a discussion where I wanted to talk about the Callous Captain reached out to me, and he says, "Hi, Captain Logan. I want to know your opinion, and I'm bringing this up so that you and I can actually talk about it, on something my mate and I have been debating since Black Powder Stashes came out. We are both not pirate legends. We've played since launch and have taken our sweet time enjoying everything the game offers. I personally think we both have the knowledge and skill of a pirate legend, beating many in combat. The debate is whether or not it's fair for legends to get their own mercenary voyage and for pirates like us to lose out on a fun opportunity because of our reputation. I believe it's a good thing because it gives more honor and meaning behind becoming a legend. My mate thinks it's unfair for everyone else on the seas. They can't experience part of the fun event because they aren't skilled enough based on reputations alone. I would love to hear your honest opinion about the subject." So I wanted to bring this up with you because he reached out and he was really nice, and I told him, you know, I do have some interesting ideas, but this would be a great thing for us to actually kind of talk about. So what do you think about this? Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's something that should be opened up and that pirate legends just get? I mean, I'll let you kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's like the Pirate Lord said. It's not about the gold. It's about the commendations. At least I think that's what he said. Was that something like that?
I think that's accurate. Yeah, but, a little paraphrasing.
But no, I mean,
cheeky.
Yeah, the thing is, it's a difficult one, that, because, like, you know, I get where they're coming from, that, you know, you're missing out on something, but are they really missing out on something though? Because in my experience, like the Athena versions of whatever are, you know, they certainly give you a little bit more money, but I wouldn't say they're any more fun than the other quests. In fact, some of them are less fun than the other quests. But I do see where they're coming from, and the fact that, you know, the pirate legends are playing parts of the game that they will never experience unless if they get, you know, do the grind and get to pirate legend. But then again, you just got a pirate legend friend to come along and do it for you. I mean, that's the whole point of the game, is community. So community. So yeah.
Yeah. No, it totally makes sense that it's always available if you have a good community to have a pirate legend in that community to be able to pop on to help you out. So and here's kind of my approach to it. I agree that I would argue that the pirate legend ones aren't necessarily that much more fun or interesting, but they do definitely kind of add a little more difficulty to it for a little bit higher of the reward. And just kind of based on that, I would say that maybe they could offer those to anyone, but pirate legends benefit from doing them instead of just having ones that are completely locked out to pirate legends only.
That's definitely a better way of doing it. So, like, Athena voyages would be the voyage, but you would only get one Athena's chest rather than 4 Athena's chests or whatever it was. Or just not giving them the giving them the veg, just not the meat. That's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah. That way, the pirate legends who've hit that status will eventually, they'll get, you know, a little more cut of the pie, but the pineapple upside down cake, if you will, and the rest of the community just gets the kind of normal scrapings that are left over, the crumbs and whatnot. But when it comes down to what's being considered fair or not fair, I think everything's fair. I think it just depends on what your priorities are. If you think something's unfair, there's an easy way to fix it. Just hit Pirate Legend. It's if you've been playing since the start of the game and it's something that you cherish and you want to kind of take your time with it, then that comes with the understanding that you're missing out on the portion that Pirate Legends have access to. You don't get any of their cosmetics, you don't get the shanty, you don't get the Pirate Legend Tavern. There's a lot more than just the specific event stuff that is being locked out, and the only thing that you're really missing out on is the higher amount of doubloons rewarded to you for completing the higher costing voyages. All of the cosmetics are available for everyone, so there's not like anything cosmetic that you're not getting a hold of. You're just missing out on the actual legend commendations. But I think there's a better approach to it. I think that the approach that we have is a stopgap for the argument that Pirate Legends have nothing to do, and that eventually, and because I mean that's really what this is, right? That's when you break it down, it's Pirate Legends saying that, I haven't got anything to do. I want to do something interesting.
I grinded this game in the first week, and I've not had nothing to do for over a year now. It's like, well, that's kind of your fault, but there you go.
Yeah. If you complete Spider-Man in 2 or 3 sittings, and everyone else is still enjoying it, when they're sitting there talking about how great some of the different things are, and you're sitting there like, I can swing around and see the rest of New York. That's kind of on you because you wanted to jump the gun on that. But that was one of the things. I've got some other stuff I wanted to touch on, but I think it's time for lore. What do you think?
Yes, bring it on.
Okay. All right. So in the game, we've been seeing a lot of activity going on with I-13. We have been talking about this,
unhealthily.
We've had a lot of discussion about this to the point where we've exhausted pretty much every possible route that I think we could probably take with it. There's enough evidence for what we think is going on that we've pretty much nailed down what we think it's going to be, but it's hard to know for sure because there's so many viable routes that we can take. And before I sit here and belabor on not talking about it, I wanted to kind of toss it out there and say, kind of let you describe for the audience with your words what has been going on over at I-13.
Well, I-13 has been sort of, I guess you could say it's been a lore-rich island ever since the very first expansion, because that's the shipwreck of dear old Merrick, his first ship, the Killer Whale, and it was used extensively in the Hungering Deep, and it sort of just sat dormant, really, didn't it? And nothing really happened after that. Although it was a place I always visited. After every patch, I go to all the unmarked islands and just have a look around, because they usually like to add things at these islands. And so basically what's happened is, I think the first thing that cropped up was, first 3 things that cropped up was the grave site with the flowers that are in the shape of the warrior constellation. The TP, abandoned TP with a photo of Merrick and Merrick's son. And then, of course, the thing that has been evolving over time is the stone, I believe, ancient circle that has now been, over time has been slowly dug and now has a scaffold above it. And on the scaffold, we have an open Reaper's chest and a mask belonging to someone or something. So that's pretty much it. I don't think anything else got updated, did it? Unless if we're missing some huge thing. So Mike Chapman's listening to this right now, like, ha! They missed it.
No, we're good. Yeah. Mike doesn't listen. We can talk about anything. Okay. This is a safe place from Chapman. As far as I know. No. And thank you for kind of putting a little bit of history. So the circle in question is what I figured we could kind of dive in on, because that's probably the biggest changes that we've seen over the last few updates. Originally, it was just the stone circles, and then we kind of figured that there was something going on there, and then eventually a spade and a bucket were there, and there was signs of digging, and now there's actually a little bit more implementation of some structure being built.
Yeah,
and some of the things that we've talked extensively on a lot of the different things. The Reaper's chest in particular was interesting because when that showed up, is that the I can't think of it. That's the right way to say it, but yeah. When that came into the game, this has been our first kind of look into what's actually in the Reaper's chests. Now, kind of touching back to what we talked on earlier in the episode, these are only going to Duke the Dark Lord. He's the only one that cares about these. The Order of Souls doesn't seem to really be interested in these Reaper's chests. But inside the Reaper's chests was something that was interesting, and it appears to be a tombstone. Or a resting place for bones, not necessarily like a full skeleton from what we can see, but who's to know what's in some of the other ones. They have also in them, and we don't know if this is something that was put in them or something that was laid on top of, but there's some red, gold, and black garbs that that is basically something that I think we've kind of worked out looks like the Sea Dog colors, the clothing that the Sea Dog representatives wear. And this is kind of crazy because the mask is part with this. The mask is something that looks like it could very well belong to a woman on the Sea Dog Tavern who has never had that much love for the Singh twin or siblings, DeMarco and Lissetti. And Amaranta is someone who, if you talk to her up in the Sea Dog Tavern in adventure mode, she's constantly talking about how she doesn't really believe in the leadership of the Sea Dogs and that she wants to destroy and wipe out and eliminate her competition as opposed to just having a competitive match. Yeah. And she's had portraits of DeMarco and Lissetti in what appears to be an area that is cordoned off kind of for her with daggers in them, indicating that she might be, using them for target practice or just kind of sharpening her skills as a cutthroat. And the mask plays a part into it because we've had a couple bits of speculation, and I kind of wanted to breach a little bit of what our thought process has been for this. So just to kind of take a step back and retread what I've kind of covered, what do you think about the Reaper's chests having skeletons in them?
Well, there was actually an interview on a website. I've forgotten what website it was now. But where they interviewed
Eurogamer?
I think it was Eurogamer, yes, yeah. And they kind of, well, they didn't really reveal, but they said that they're thinking the September update's name will be, I think it was Reaper's Bones, I think they called the update. And so they're definitely, that chest is very poignant. It's obviously so with the bones inside, but it's weird because like you said, we don't really know how that chest got the way it was. Were those bones in there before, or were they taken out and the bones were put in afterwards? It's strange, but with this new update called Reaper's Bones, it does sort of kind of all click into place. So I think there's definitely going to be some explanation into what this stuff is all about. I don't know whether Duke is going to explain this to us or not, but something's not right, is it? Duke is either going to the dark side, or he's being coerced, or let's say blackmailed into doing stuff he doesn't want to do. I don't know, but it's not right. He's an annoying little boy.
Yeah, I'm really interested to understand why a man who is one of a kind, but at every tavern, has reason to reward players with a currency that's still relatively new in the game, with boxes of bones that are marked for death. or at least a Reaper's Mark. You know, I mean, I don't know what a guy wants with a bunch of box of bones, and with an update coming down the line that suggests that it's going to dive deeper into a box of bones for a guy that wants them, who just spends most of his time getting drunk in a tavern.
Yeah.
I really have a hard time just not like spidey senses just going crazy, man. It's Duke the Dark Lord is up to something. I think he's mustering an army. But at the same time, I really question whether or not Rare is trying to mislead me into thinking that there's something that's not there. And it's interesting, like, you know, the email we got from Rare about the Sea Thieves update says that everything starts with Duke. I agree. Everything starts with Duke. And I can't tell if they're being cheeky or if I'm going nuts, but I feel like there's something to that, dude. So kind of diving a little bit more into the mask. I know that there's some stuff that has been kind of sussed out by the community, and I don't want to dig too deep into that because to be honest, there's a lot of stuff that's probably, it's kind of like when you dive into like in NDA territory where, you know, you're going to know stuff a little bit ahead of the time, but for people that don't want to be spoiled on that kind of stuff, I want to respect that and respect people's sense of excitement when they find something out. But I did want to talk about some of the discussions and possibilities that are coming with this mask, because we've kind of gone down possibly two paths with the path or with the mask, and the one that I think is definitely the one that seems most likely is dealing with the Sea Dogs and Amaranta, if I'm pronouncing her name right.
I think so.
And and you did a great video. Captain J from the Crow's Nest did a great video. I'm sure others have kind of come to this conclusion that the mask looks like it represents Amaranta's face. It's got a beauty mark in the same place. The shape of it's very similar. And it would make sense that if she is looking to disrupt the leadership of the Sea Dogs, that there's two things that she would need. One, anonymity until that time is ready to come to fruition, and two, something very powerful to help kind of draw the kind of loyalty or attention of pirates or Sea Dogs to join her to usurp the siblings. And I think that that's something that can be accomplished using Dark Relics or something that she's digging up on I-13. And that seems to be the biggest thing that kind of pushes me towards thinking that it could be her. But we had another situation. So kind of what was our other I want to give you an opportunity to kind of dive a little bit into some of our other theories.
Well, I mean, we went through quite a few, didn't we?
We really did. Even to the point where we were talking about like I-13 being the resting place of Flameheart. I think that was one of the things that we had talked about.
I mean,
as well.
it's still entirely possible. You know, you don't, because I think one of the theories we had was that the pictures of Merrick and his son was just an indication of family, and we were under we thought maybe the gravesite was Flameheart Senior, and and all sorts of different ideas. And of course, the other idea we had was a certain female shopkeeper, I will leave it at that, who has once caused a few problems in the Sea of Thieves. That was the other idea we had. That was something that I think was echoed by Thor von Blitz on Twitter as well. I saw a really well thought out piece where he thinks that it actually deals with the Warsmith. And we talked about that because if you look at the mask, there's a crack along the front of it on the left hand side. And if you go back and you dig into pictures of the Warsmith, you see that her skeleton has that same crack. And I mean, it's possible. I mean, it's definitely like something that could be done, and who knows? Because I mean, nothing's set in stone. Rare could do whatever they want, but I think that the storyline with Amaranta is a bit more interesting, in my opinion. Than
than dredging up an old person that we've already fought in the past.
Yeah.
And I would kind of like to see more people fighting other people in the game.
Yes. Yeah.
With NPCs.
Yeah.
As opposed to just constantly being it to skeletons.
Yeah.
Because it always seems to come down to like, oh, guess it's kind of like He-Man and Skeletor.
Yeah, really.
Who is it? Oh, it's Skeletor.
Yeah.
What's he doing again? What is he ever doing? He's always constantly trying to get Grayskull.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we're gonna go have to stop Skeletor again. Yeah.
It just reminds me of Austin Powers, where he's just like, just shoot him, and he's like, we can't shoot him, we can't shoot him.
You don't understand, Scott. It's not that simple. Yeah. It's it really is. It's like James Bond. It's like Mario versus Koopa. It's or Bowser. I don't know. God, man, that aged me.
Yeah.
Back when I used to call him Koopa. But yeah, and I it's at this point we have some inklings of what's going on, and there's been a lot of people out there doing a lot of sleuthing, and I don't want to like etch in a stone. Like this isn't like tablets that we're bringing down from a mountain here. We're speculating as much as anyone else. Our speculation is just based a little bit more around like the plausibility of what could actually be going on there.
Yeah.
But I'm more interested I'm a little less interested in who's doing it, and I'm a little more interested in why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's all fun and games to figure out, like, you know, who could potentially be digging at I-13. But really, when it comes down to it, I just want to know what the heck is under that sand.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
At I-13.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's all these little things, isn't there? There's all, like who's in the mask, what's in the Reaper's chest, all this. And I'm just like, what's under the ground? What's under the ground? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to mess with anything. I don't want to kill anyone or disrupt it. I just want to see what's in that. It's kind of like what was it? Indiana Jones and the Lost. Oh my gosh! Don't hate me, Internet.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah. Thank you. Oh my god. Where they're in the map room and they're using the staff to kind of pinpoint the resting place of the Ark and stuff. It's like I just want to see what's like down in there. I want to know. Yeah. Like finish digging and go. Can I go dig it up?
I really, really hope that that's not going to be it. I hope they're not just going to leave it half dug and it's going to be like, hey, that's where the Dark Relics were. Moving on. Like, no.
Yeah.
No, let us know what's under. Because I have noticed, is it N13? I might have the coordinates mixed up, but there actually has, and there's a new stone circle that's only appeared, I think it appeared in Black Powder Slashes, which is identical to the one at I-13, but it's under the water and it's surrounded with other, I want to say mermaid architecture. I don't even know if it is mermaid architecture, but yeah, that sort of architecture around it, which is, you know, interesting as well. So I don't know. I really, really hope that gets dug up and we go down inside, because I would be very, very disappointed if we do not.
Yeah.
Or at least something uncovers. You know, I want to see something there, not just There's got to be something. There's a reason why they put it into the game. You know, they rarely ever put something into the game that is just kind of superfluous. But it's. And for those that don't know, N13 is the wreck of the Magpie's wing. It's also it's one of the bigger parts of some of the major tall tales, like the tail, like the Constellation one, as well as the first short, or the first Shroudbreaker one. That's right.
But yeah, and I definitely think and it's funny because in a lot of the videos I constantly go back and rewatch a lot of the Comic-Con panels that they do. Mike has always kind of gone through and said that Flameheart, and any time anyone's ever asked where's Flameheart, he always says that Flameheart is resting.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until this update, when we were talking about it and we were kind of thinking about what was going on, that I thought it was kind of crazy that someone would be digging on an island. And I don't know about you. I don't know how likely this is, but I really kind of hope that I-13 is the resting place of Flameheart.
Yeah.
And that the reason why someone's digging there is to try and uncover the cavern that Flameheart and his crew stumbled upon, where they found that chalice that turned them into the skeletons.
Yeah. I'll tell you one interesting thing, actually. I forgot to tell you about this, but I had a message from someone on Facebook a while back, and they said that they were talking about Flameheart, and they were talking about what happened in the book, and how when he sailed through the shroud and tossed he didn't toss the chest overboard, it just sank with the ship, didn't it? And that's when they found themselves on this strange isle where there was a cavern and the chalice and all that. And he was theorizing that it was Sunken Grove, and I was a bit kind of like, I don't think it's Sunken Grove. But then he said, in the Black Powder Stashes update, they've changed Sunken Grove just a little bit, because in the book it says that there was a cave with 3 arches and all this and they've actually made a cave with 3 arches, and I was like, that's interesting. So I don't know, I don't know whether it's hard to say, because we don't know what happened to Flameheart after all of that, do we? We only know
well, the geography for Tales of the Sea of Thieves is it feels about as wonky as the symmetry on some of the things on a ship, to be honest. If we're really if we're kind of trying to nail down anchor points in the game, they've talked about, the wreck being in the Shores of Plenty. We know that Belle and Nura have found it. We know that Wanda's found it. So we know that the wreck is somewhere in the game, maybe not necessarily shown in the actual game, but canon wise, the wreck should be there. I mean, we didn't have the Morning Star or the Magpie's Wing until the anniversary update and shortly prior. But I would imagine that at some point we'll probably have to go and find the actual wreck of the Silver Blade. Yeah. And because, I mean, at some point during Cursed Sails, Wanda actually got one of the cannons from it.
But the thing was that the Silver Blade she got the cannons for, or was it the Burning Blade? Because I'm not sure if I think it was the Burning Blade she got the cannons from. Because just looking at the cannons, they're very gothic, and it's not something I'd imagine.
They look like
not something I'd imagine to see on the Silver Blade. But
that's a tough one right there, because it's hard to know. It's hard to know if that's what's there is accurately representative of what his Silver Blade looked like compared to the liveries that we're getting from playing on the Insider. Exactly. Even though Mike said that it's the same, but it's hard to know like how far in the future stuff was planned for that kind of stuff. Like, I'm sure they probably put a lot of work into naming it and whatnot, but I always wonder, like, how far ahead are they compared to what they're putting out with story. So it's tough, and it's interesting, because if the counterpoint to that is how would Wanda be able to get a cannon from a ship that's still sailing around? Or, well, actually, I don't know if we actually know if it's still sailing around. We know it was sailing around during the time that Ramses was still sailing, but that was what, 30 years prior something to like current that. Game time.
Yeah, something like that. It's all, the time's a bit weird with the whole lore thing. It's like, do I believe this one or this one? But I think it was about 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's sometime within 30 years, because we know at some point Ramses continued sailing past Athena's Fortune, and Athena's Fortune was set 30 years prior to the game, and the comics are set 10 or 15 years prior to the actual game. So there's probably like a 15-20 year gap in there where the Burning Blade was still sailing around. So it's hard to know if that's still a ship that exists, or if that's something that that is wrecked as well and available for stealing stuff from. The last thing that I wanted to kind of touch on as we're kind of getting into the last topic is kind of dealing with one of the other community topics that came up, and that was from Zupski on my Discord. Him and Cam Bones were discussing that something they put up on the topic dealt with the actual NPCs on all of the islands and how they feel like those could be better utilized for future content. And the example that he gave was Burning Tony at Ruby's Fall, who lost his concertina, and that he'll reward you with a new song if you find it for him. But to do things like that with all of the NPCs to be able to earn new cosmetics and stuff. And I actually thought this was a great idea, but I wanted to kind of toss out the idea that something Thor von Blitz and I talked about is that they should be roaming around the islands as well and stop being like static characters in one spot all the time. That they should kind of show up in different places. But is this something that you thought was necessary? Like, do you think that they should explore that? As far as roaming
is concerned, I mean, I would love it. I love the characters to roam, and it would definitely give the places a lot more, much more of a living feel to everything. But I mean, as far as getting things done for the game, it's really on sort of a low priority to make sure that, you know, characters animate around the island. I mean, they've still got to work on stuff like, we've just had the hit reg thing updated, and it's not perfect, but you know, it still needs a bit more work. So they need to concentrate on stuff like that more rather than just, you know, getting people walking around the village. But it would be a very, very nice thing to see in the future. And as far as NPCs having quests, that definitely, because you know, like the person said, they're just static people that just occasionally say something and you hand in loot to them. They should definitely have more stuff to do with them, some different type of quest system. I mean, what would be nice is if they could offer things that you could bring back to Duke for doubloons. So, you know, some sort of quest like they've lost their like they lost their concertina. So you get the concertina, he gives you the tune, you take the concertina back or take the tune back to Duke, and he gives you some doubloons for it, and then you can teach it to your friends. You know, stuff like that. Just make the world a little bit more interactable, because they just stood there, and I do feel sorry for them because they just stood there all day. And a lot of them have really, really horrible places that they have to stand to. So I feel bad for especially the dude on the dock on what is it, Fetcher's Rest? Fetcher's or Fletcher's. But he looks happy, but I think that's just insanity. I think that's just kind of like him. He's just lost his mind. He's like, I'm shell shocked from the volcano, so I'm just giddy as a kite or something. But that was one of the main things that I thought was a really interesting idea to kind of start utilizing some of the assets in the game that we have and try and use some of the tools that they have to kind of apply, like, for example, AI pathing from skeletons to the NPCs as well too, so that they just kind of wander around the island as opposed to just being static turn-in points. Thor thought it would be really cool if they had different points on an island that they would go to, and you have to use your actual in-game watch to pay attention to what time it is to know like what area of the map or what area of the island they'll actually be at during different times of the day. That would be nice. And that things like and in that way you could have, like, for I think the example he gave was Deadshot Charlotte on Lone Cove traveling throughout the island throughout the day, and having things like skeletons spawn and her attacking skeletons, and shooting them from afar or using them as a target practice, throughout the day. And you could stumble upon her doing that, and her being like, "No, you got to help me kill these skeletons before I'll let you turn anything into me," kind of thing. And just kind of build up that world a little bit more, and kind of give a little more vivacious nature. I mean, to each of the NPCs. Another idea could be a buddy system. So, like, say you go up to one of these NPCs and you pay them, let's say, 4,000 gold, and they will follow you around the island and essentially just be your bodyguard.
Yeah, that'd be great too. For a split second there, I thought you were going to say escort quest, and I was going to have to end this podcast right here now. But I'm okay with the bodyguard situation.
I love those escort quests, especially when they say run this way and follow me, and they go half your run speed. That's always a really nice little aesthetic.
Yeah, I definitely want to make sure that I quit playing video games for a while after I do those for sure. Yeah. So I did get a couple stories in this week that I did want to cover, but to be honest, the one that I got was it was great, but it was super long. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to record that separately and then kind of put it out during the week, so that way runtime doesn't get too long. And oh my gosh, I just forgot.
What?
I just forgot that. There's a few things. The Stitcher's Sorrow song has been put into Spotify.
That's right. Yeah.
So that track is available to stream and download now if you want to listen to that song. But Gamescom is coming this week.
Yeah.
And we're getting the rest of the Halo Spartan set.
Yep.
and it's awesome. So if you've been a no-lifer like me and sitting watching every event that Rare is at, from E3 to Battle for LA and Battle for Orlando and the weekly streams and all that good stuff, then you will have already have earned the Spartan set. But Gamescom is coming this week, August 20th through the 24th, and you can actually complete the cannons, capstans, and wheels for the Spartan set. And yeah, I think they're actually doing it all, aren't they?
Yes.
Are they giving the
whole
the
thing,
full set away?
Yeah, if you missed the last set, then yeah, you get everything in one fell swoop. One fell swoop. Yeah.
One fell swoop. Yeah. You get a sloop with your Spartan set. Congratulations. Just log into the game and select sloop, and you will earn yourself a brand new sloop every game.
Every time. Guaranteed.
Unless you don't play the game, at which point you don't get that.
Yeah,
sorry, that's a must play game to redeem.
Yeah. Plus, if you don't play the game, why would you be listening to this?
Maybe you're a Halo fan.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Maybe
you could just.
I don't know why you're listening to this, but maybe you get the Halo set and you're like, oh, I'll go check that out.
Yeah.
But you're probably not listening to this if you're just a Halo fan.
Yeah.
Are you? I really wish Rare would stop giving the cool stuff away for free.
I know, right? Yeah.
It's hard for me to complain about getting free stuff.
Exactly.
But the Spartan set looks so good.
I know.
It looks so good. And if I'm being perfectly honest right now, I would much rather have this as like an unlockable event in the game that everyone can get. You just have to go complete the event. And at the end of completing the event, you get the really beautiful Robin Beanland version of the Halo song that he did for the trailer as a shanty.
Yeah. See, perfect world right there.
Rare, hire me. So I think if you guys, if you're listening to this and you didn't have plans on playing the game during August 20th through the 24th, I don't know what to do for you. I don't know how to fix that.
Just leave your account name and password with me, and I will log into the game for you. And
at Captain Falcore on Twitter, send all your gamer tags and passwords to Falcore.
Oh, I'll need
and
bank
go through all of them
as well, bank number and sort code as well, please.
That's true. Yeah. So send your credentials to Falcore on Twitter. He will ensure that you will have all of the pets as well as all of the Spartan liveries. And I thought you said you were going to be buying a new house soon. Is that still in the works? If things go,
they get a new house. Yeah.
New house, and then he'll return all the credentials to everyone.
Of course,
that gave him all. Play during the 20th through the 24th. I don't know how you wouldn't be already if you're listening to this, but doing so will grant you the rest of the Spartan ship. I think that's it. I got one review that I will record shortly after, and yeah. Anything else you can think of? Anything you want to promote?
Let's see.
What do you want to promote? What do you got?
Let's see.
When do your videos
I've actually been thinking about starting my own endorsement for a cheese cracker line called Falky's Fun Frumps. Yes,
Working
yeah,
working title.
Yeah, yeah. So they'll be on the stores of every town that has a seafront between 2020 and 2021.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
So Midland people, make sure you get out to those coastal regions to get your cheese and crackers from Captain Falcore.
And you have to watch. You have to watch my stream for 3.5 hours, and when you do that, you get the get the Black Pearl ship set for your ship in Sea of Thieves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Partnership with Disney's working out.
Exactly. Yeah. And 10 million gold as well. And a car.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah,
that's actually pretty good.
Not bad. Just for watching.
Not
the
too bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, go check out Captain Falcore's stream at twitch.tv / is it just Captain Falcore?
Captain Falcore, yes. Summit 1G.
Yeah. So Summit 1G, Pace 22, Sea of Thieves, Captain Logan / Dank Squad. I don't know.
.tv.org.
But I do have to ask, does the cheese smell like Duke the Dark Lord?
Ooh, well, I don't know.
How's testing?
It's just it depends on how PG this podcast is, really.
We're keeping it super PG. I got to make sure that the kids have every reason to fear Duke the Dark Lord as I do.
Yeah, it's not monsters you got to be afraid of. It's Duke climbing through your window in the middle of the night.
Oh God! I just imagine that. I just imagine that dude like crawling through the window. He's like, "Follow your nose." Oh God! What are you doing here? Someone help me! There's a man with sandals in my living room. Go get some scars. No, I don't want that. I don't want that. Get out of my house.
That would make a terrifying horror movie. That really would.
It really would. Yeah, just some bilge rat like pressed up against your window, like
do something adventurous.
Get out there and get some scars. Like, oh my God. What is that? Call the police.
Yeah, it's the
help.
It's part 3. That's what it is. They kill the clown. It gets replaced with Duke.
Got the clown.
Yeah, we all float down here.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for the episode. Falcore, thank you again.
No worries,
I love
dude.
having you on the show. Everyone seems to really enjoy our conversations about lore and whatnot. So I'm sure this will be no different. And then, yeah, I'm going to have all of Captain Falcore's social media stuff in my show notes. So if you've made it to the very end here, congratulations, you win a car. See Captain Falcore for that after you watch his 3.5 hour stream. Yep. Otherwise, I think that's going to do it. Falcore, thank you so much for joining me.
No worries,
I really appreciate it. Awesome. And that's going to do it for this episode. Pirates, thank you. I hope you have a good sale this week. I hope you're enjoying Dark Relics. I hope you take some time to go give Falcore some love and shower him with YouTube comments that are positive and not, I think it's just a coincidence that you guys all came out with the same videos at the same time. There's no way you guys talk. Nobody actually talks to each other. No. You guys are just, it just happens. You know, don't feel too bad if your video came out and it's the same as the other guys. It's not that bad. It's actually pretty good. I like your cuts better and you're funnier. So there. Yeah. Give him better comments than that. Say he's a good guy. Give him some love. He puts a lot of love into this game and a lot of love into our community. So I personally would be very appreciative if you gave him, not himself, some love over on his YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, because YouTube are evil monsters and want to make sure that they do nothing but help try and demonetize good content creators.
Yes,
that's going to do it for this episode. Pirates, thank you. I love you, and I look forward to sailing with you on the Sea of Thieves.
Subscribe to PewDiePie.
You son of a... You realize I have to keep this all in?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I have to. All right.
Beautiful.